Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Pop Snitch. We're giving you gossip chaos with group chat energy. My name is Rachel, and I am joined here today by a man I've known for 20 years. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Brandon, and I will be joining the pod from time to time. Glad to be here.
You're not going to tell them how you know me?
Oh, well, I am married to you, so.
Brandon and I have been married for 100 years because I was a child bride and my frontal lobe wasn't fully developed. So here I am, just a little tiny teenager in my 30s and married to a 40-year-old man.
30s is doing a lot of work in that sentence.
We're hanging on by a thread. Thank you for being on with me today. I talked to so many of my friends whose husbands either get really into the reality TV that they like with them or are completely opposed to it. And so those girls like pretend that they like football or something.
Well, that's not that's pretty much the opposite of what we have going on here. Like, this is my life. Like, reality TV is just so much a part of who I am and has been since you turned me on to The Bachelor nearly 15 years ago. So,
And I don't even watch The Bachelor anymore. I genuinely believe that the smartest people that I work with and talk to and the most interesting people watch reality TV. What is your theory for why that's true?
I mean, it really is the last escape that we have. Like, TV used to be in a place where, it was fantastical, and now, like, everything's so hyper realistic that this feels like the last bastion of escapism that we have in our culture is
Yeah.
reality TV. So that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, when the world is burning, I just want to watch some cuties in bikinis on Love Island, like find their person. But I also think it's an interesting sociological standpoint. I feel like you and I sit around and talk a lot about what a person's motivation might be or how they're thinking. And it does create empathy for things in a way that, we would hope reading would do for people. But
I mean,
I find it
arm
really fascinating.
armchair psychology is definitely right up there with some of my interests. And
Hmm.
so reality TV provides a lot of fodder for that kind of work.
It absolutely does. And the fact that your wife is obsessed with pop culture helps. So, what I want to do now is just read you some kind of out of pocket stories from this week and get your take on it.
Let's hear it.
Okay, story number one. We have four. Story number one. Aaron Rodgers' marriage mystery deepens as family questions if he really tied the knot with never seen wife. Aaron Rodgers is facing mounting questions and growing doubts over his mysterious personal life after claiming he had quietly tied the knot with a mystery woman he refuses to name. So essentially, they say that as of today, public records show no trace of a legal marriage. And the news caught several members of the Rogers family and friends off guard. So multiple sources have told, this is from Daily Mail, so take that for what you will, that they're beginning to question if this is actually happening.
Well,
And
I mean, somebody needs to do a welfare check on this man. I
my
mean,
God.
he's out of control on all of these broy podcasts talking about like the vaccine still, talking about every single conspiracy theory known to man, like fully buying into that there is like nanotech in the
Mm-hmm.
uh vaccine and all of
Oh
that. I
my
mean,
God.
he's lost it. And the fact that any NFL team would want him anywhere near their facility really shocks me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm really interesting to see what happens in Philadelphia, or not Philadelphia, what happens in Pittsburgh and what the fan base is going to do. I think it's going to be one of the most interesting stories of the NFL season. But I mean, this is just irrational, fully unhinged behavior, and he keeps somehow getting away with it. Like, I just don't understand why teams, why media, why anybody gives any time to this man.
I don't know. I just know that a conspiracy theory and a broadcast hates to see him coming. He hasn't met one he doesn't
Oh,
love.
he falls in love at first sight. He hasn't
Yeah.
found one. He hasn't found a conspiracy that he's not willing to buy hook, line, and sinker.
It's so interesting because he wants to think of himself as this unique thinker. And it's like there's a reason that a lot of people get behind a certain thought, and it's because there's evidence. Like trying to say that I'm sorry, that went through. I don't know how to make that not happen again. But um, he doesn't understand how to separate, like, just general thought of, like he thinks that if you think something a lot of people think, it's groupthink, and that you're not thinking for yourself, and it's like or there's established evidence, and if you show me other established evidence, I'm happy to look at it, but hearsay, someone's TikTok or your ayahuasca trip, that's not gonna do it for me.
Well, it's this strange phenomenon that we see on the internet right now with all of these like Joe Rogan-esque types. It's like if we're talking about these things, I'm going to pretend that I'm a specialist and have all the kinds of information I need. The moment that you start to question me, well, I'm not a scientist.
Right,
Oh,
right,
I'm
right.
not a doctor. I'm not a, I'm just a comedian. So it's like there's the protection to go out here and say just absolutely off the wall, unhinged things. And then the moment that somebody with any kind of credentials challenges you, you're like, well, I mean, all I am is a comedian. All I am is a football player. I mean, I'm not a doctor.
I was just
You know,
asking
I'm just
questions.
asking questions. I mean, who's looking into this? I'm just saying we should be looking into it. I'm just like, this is lunacy.
Yeah, no, he's a lunatic. Do you think he's married?
Oh, I mean, honestly, I mean, I from her standpoint, I'm like, "This is a rich man, and I'm along for the ride," but I think he would be insane to be married. I mean, he wasn't with somebody, like, 2 months ago.
I think that's I mean, I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't think he is. I don't know if he's trying to get some sort of clout or some sort of, like, saying relevant in some way because he has been on this, like, kick of trying to get PR and doing stuff, so
Mm.
I can't tell if it's some, like, pathetic attempt to do that.
Well, do I believe he went into the Costa Rican jungle with a group of people, one of which was this girl, and came out married? I fully believe that's possible.
Oh,
I'm sure
yeah. Oh my
I'm sure
god.
it's more of a quote unquote "spiritual marriage" as opposed to
Sure.
a,
Oh, you know what it probably is? I bet he's just wearing a ring to be like, "This matters just as much as your legal marriage."
yeah, no, that's what
I
we're
won't give
dealing
her
with
any of
here.
my assets when I pass
No,
away, but
that's
I'm
what it
wearing this
is.
ring.
This is a spiritual marriage. This is they're
Oh, yeah.
connected in on the astral plane.
Let me tell you, God be with her. Let me take you to story number 2, which is also a mentally ill man. Um, I never know how to say his name. Is it Tarek El Moussa?
Yeah, yeah,
Need
Tarek, I think.
Tarek. He pummeled and elbowed a man in the head during a violent casino fight. Have you heard about this?
I have not heard about it. I'm hearing about it for the first time. None of this strikes me as a surprise simply because we know his history from the show. But it's interesting to me that this man, like I mean, I know him most recently from Selling Sunset. I mean, he was on
Mhm.
Flip or Flop and all of that before.
Right.
But I mean, you know, the whole thing of him, he's perfect on that show, or at least that's how he's painted. He's
Yeah.
completely changed and all of this. And then next thing we know, he's in Vegas, beating the crap out of somebody out in front of Caesars.
Well, and this is after he, like, ran into the woods with a gun, and he thinks we forgot,
Yeah.
which we did
No.
not. So, apparently, according to police, he became heated after a man bumped into his father's chair at a roulette table.
Oh, wow.
Because, of course, his dad was allegedly offended and turned to stare at the man before returning to the game. The man then patted the HGTV star's father on the shoulder before saying something to him. At that point, El Musa was sitting nearby and jumped in to intervene. He allegedly pushed the man back and then sprang into a fighting stance. When the
Oh,
man
no.
attempted to tackle El Musa by aiming for his legs, El Musa kneed him, sending him to the floor. He then allegedly jumped on the man's back and gave him 3 blows to the head before
Oh,
getting up and walking away.
ick engaged.
Right.
Yeah.
So, initially, they did not charge him with anything. When approached by police, the reality star said that he got involved to protect his dad due to him
Mm.
having back problems. Like,
Oh, be careful. Don't
what?
touch my dad's back. I mean, we just love, uh, male violence,
Sure.
that's it's just a display of utter crazed violence in public. But yeah, I think, you know, you don't get canceled these days, obviously. This whole, like, cancellation thing is really it's not a thing. People talk about it all the time, but
Yeah.
people like Tarek are going around assaulting people and no cancellation in progress.
I think I heard Jack Shepherd say this on his podcast years and years and years ago, that he has a fan to say that someone is trying to, like, attack his family, and he gets to be the hero.
Sickness.
Exactly, and
Literally, call the police.
I find men like that to be the scariest, who present as nice guys, but are, like, looking for a fight. Like, I'm sorry, this man bumped into your dad. He's probably drunk at a casino. He doesn't know your dad has a back problem.
Yeah, it's like
You're gonna
protectors.
kick him in the face? That's not protection. That's just assault.
I hear protection, I hear instigation.
Right, right. I mean, this is a man who married a woman who looks just like his ex-wife to the point where they had, like, a whole tongue-in-cheek in on the joke
You
thing, which
gonna
I
s
think is smart.
Are you gonna skewer him for having a type?
No, I just think it's one thing to have a type, it's another thing to be like, copy and paste.
It really
Like,
is.
when people
I
can't tell them apart?
there are times I mean, I watched both shows and I could tell the women out of a lineup, but I see especially when the, like, airbrushing gets started for these, like, promo pics, I'm
Right.
like, I really am having trouble figuring out which one's which here.
Genuinely. Like, yeah, and he just I don't know. He strikes me as someone I would not want to be trapped in a room with.
Yeah, I think that's safe.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what happened to Paige DeSorbo because we know there's an uproar. She led a challenge for Love Island, and she just updated Giggly Squad that I listened to, like, yesterday or today on what happened. So here's what the internet said. First of all, they screamed she wore shoulder pads to the beach, which is like a famous Paige saying about
Oh, my
Lindsay.
word.
She was at this challenge with like a velour or velvet dress on that came that was like a turtleneck.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
and so she went on the podcast and she was explaining she had been thinking through these outfits for obviously weeks. Like, she was so excited to be able to go on it. She's a huge Love Island fan. And we know from you and I are Summer House fans,
Fans.
only friends. And so we know when Paige gets stressed out, she throws up. If you look at any fight that she has with Craig, with anybody, if she gets into a fight with someone for real, she will go throw up. And I know from Giggly Squad that, she was taking beta blockers, having anxiety attacks. Like, she's a pass out girly and a throw up girly. So she was told she was going to do 2 looks on Love Island. And so she had this, like, beautiful gold dress that she wanted to wear that was very Love Island-y. And then they call her as she is about to leave for the airport because they're, like, what, 16 hours ahead or I can't keep track of the
Right.
timing, but it's a
In
long
Fiji.
flight. Yeah, because she had to fly from New York to California to LA, and then from there it was an 11-hour flight to Fiji. So it's a lot of travel. So she said that they called her right before she left and they were like, hey, the challenge you're going to do is a lumberjack challenge. Do you have a dress that's kind of lumberjacky? And she was like, no. But she had this dress. Now, a lot of us watched the Summer House after show last year, and she wore this for a lot of the after show. So she knew she was going to get skewered for being an outfit repeater, especially on something like as big as Love Island. But she was like, whatever, this is like the right color and vibe for this challenge, which she doesn't know anything about other than lumberjack. And she gets there. She has not slept. Like, she said that she popped a Xanax on the flight from LA to Fiji, got there, and they were like, okay, let's get you in hair and makeup. So, like, she's coming hot off the plane, right?
Wow.
Yeah, they get her in hair and makeup. They put in these extensions. She said it felt like a hot, hot hat stuck to her head.
Well, let me tell you, that's what it looked like. It
And
looked like
then
a hot, hot hat.
yeah, and then she had that, like, up to her neck, and they put the mic pack in the back of her neck in that
Uh-uh.
dress.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
And she said, Fiji's hot in theory, but you have no idea until you're standing there with a hat and a turtleneck on in the middle of the day and just the sun beating down on her, no shade.
I mean, I
And
do not make it a habit of commenting on a woman's looks, but I mean,
Good idea.
it was all wrong for what she was there for, and I'm glad to hear that it wasn't her fault,
Right.
this was happened upon her.
Right.
She walked into a mess. It had nothing to do with her. Thank
Right.
God.
Well, okay.
Our queen.
So and so then, everybody noticed that she was just gone halfway through the challenge.
Just disappeared.
Yeah, just inexplicably, whatever. And so apparently she started getting really queasy and she threw up. She like asked to take a break, went and threw up, came back. She's like, I'm a professional. I can do this. This is fine. And she said, like a few more minutes in, her vision started tunneling and she went in the cabin, where they're like kissing and stuff.
Mhm.
And she walked in there and said into her mic to production, like, I'm going down. And she
Oh,
passed
no.
out. And
No.
she like sat down, passed out. And she said she was, like, so sweaty and cold and sick, and she was like, "I genuinely don't think I can do it out in this heat like that." And they're like, "That's fine." And she's like, "It's Love Island, stuff like that happens all the time," and they just edit it away, and I thought somehow they would edit it where it seemed like I was there the whole time, and they did not.
Well,
I
I
was like
don't know how they could have. She didn't
right.
really give them a lot to play with.
Yeah, I mean, she was there for half of it, and then she threw up and passed out, and then she thought she was supposed to do a different segment, and they were like, "Nope, that's all," and she was like, "What?
Oh,
No." So, she's gonna be there for, the afterglow,
okay.
so she'll still, like, be part of it and be able to wear another dress. She's still in Fiji, so she's definitely, doing something else, but I thought that was so fun. Like, I felt that in my there I cannot imagine traveling, like, 17 hours, putting on thick fabric, and being out in
Well,
100-degree weather with no shade.
I mean, you know, hot take here is that
Uh-oh.
I believe that some of the best moments of the show are Ariana, and why are we not taking more advantage of her? Like, if she's there, like, I like when she comes out. I like what she adds to the show, and I just feel like we're not getting enough of that. Could there be more games? Could there be more? I don't know. Like, I just feel like we're not getting enough.
Okay. Well, I mean, I love that you love Ariana. I think it was really smart for the show to have Paige on, though, because she is such a genuine fan of the show.
That's true too.
And I think the Bravo Peacock crossover of it all is really smart for the Love Island USA brand because it was Love Island USA has not caught on really until they brought in
Oh,
Ariana.
well, I'm telling you this right now. Talk about a Love Island, but of Bravo stars, like of young Bravo stars, and send them all there for like an all stars kind of thing. I'd watch that.
Yeah, but hot take, there are no young Bravo stars anymore.
Well, no, we got our Southern hospitality folks. We got our Gen Alpha people from New York.
Oh, next gen?
They're about to start their new Vanderpump soon. I mean, there's going to be plenty of young people,
Maybe some of them will do that crossover at some point. That would be interesting.
and
Have
maybe
like a
calling back some
celebrity.
people as well,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
calling back some former folks like Leah and that group.
Well, they're, like, coupled up now, and they have, like they have a new program that's showing, like, where they are now.
Mm, we
Um,
like that.
I know. Okay, so this next one is gonna lead into we're covering The Valley and, of course, Love Island week 2, which we'll do in just a
Right.
minute. But on her podcast, Lala Kent was talking to Tom Schwartz because, of course,
Oh
um
my God.
I have never liked Lala. I don't know everything about her rubs me the wrong way. I know you like her.
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie. I like Lala in theory.
I everything she says, I'm like, "Why did you say it, and why did you say it that way?" I hate it. Everything she does really bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
And Schwartz, I find to be he's really hard because I think he is diabolical
Oh,
in a
he's
relationship.
yes.
But he is obviously also a nice guy. And
Mm.
so it's difficult to, like, put those together. I think a lot of people have made those TikToks about him being a man child and that with, like, the Sabrina Carpenter song,
He is. I
which
mean,
makes
that's the
total sense.
saddest part of the whole thing is that
Yeah.
there is potential there. Yes, he is a nice guy, but I cannot with people. It's mostly men, but it can be just people who think they are so easy but they are
Mhm.
actually much more difficult than anyone even understands or puts on.
Yeah.
And he's one of those people, it's like, "Oh, I'm easy, I'm nice, I'm really easy to get along with, I'm go with the flow," but really, he causes most of the problems that he gets into.
Yeah. I mean, he'll get drunk and, like, pour a drink on your head.
Yeah, and he's got that whole, like, puppy dog just
Mhm.
bull crap, and
Well, and he
yeah.
used to be really handsome, and now he just looks kinda washed up. Like, he's
Leslie
still
okay,
handsome.
okay, he's a handsome dad bod man, let's just
No, he
we can
is.
accept that.
I'm just saying no, totally. I'm just saying you can't get away with that behavior and acting that way and then rely on, like, a sweet
Oh,
little
no.
face
Yeah,
to
we're
cover it
past our
up.
boyish young
Yeah,
looks
I
that
think
would
you're in
get
your
us out of trouble
mid-40s,
for
bro,
sure.
like, get it together at some point.
Mhm.
Okay, so here's the story. Lala told Schwartz, and she was talking through Bravo celebrities that would be a good match for him, and she said with her whole chest that she thought Lexi would be good for Tom Schwartz.
Is Lexi Wood, like, 24 years old?
She's 27.
My word, no.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and honestly, what does that say about Schwartz? Like, that's actually a
I
put down to
know.
him, not a put down to Lexi or even a comment really on Lexi as a person. It's more of a comment on Schwartz. What business does a 45-year-old man have dating a 27-year-old? Like,
Like,
I'm sorry, that's a
could
hot
you
take. That's a
imagine?
hot take.
No, it's not. I mean, I don't think it's that high. I think that makes total sense. Lexi is sweet and bubbly and, whatever. But we know from watching her date Jesse that she has expectations and is like, you can do X, Y, and Z or not, but that's not going to work for me. First of all,
Yeah.
he would hate that. Secondly, because he would just want to be in the, oh, we're not really doing anything stage. But to your point, why does someone in their 40s need to be with a woman in her prime, in her late 20s? Like,
Well,
why are we thinking that's, like, a normal connection
and
for him?
let me clean up my thoughts around this. I don't wanna get canceled on this one. It's
Well,
fine to date
everyone
somebody
listening is gonna cancel you.
it's fine to date someone outside of your age range. I think what
Sure.
makes more sense is to be dating someone who's in a similar area of life. There are plenty of 27-year-old women who are ready to settle down, get
Mhm.
married, move on, have kids, have a family, and if a 45-year-old man is in that same spot, I could see that working. I'm not saying that there's not a world where it works. What I am saying is there is no doubt that Tom Schwartz and Lexi Wood should be in completely different parts of their lives,
I
and
mean, she is
obviously are.
so out of his league. It's like, I could not believe that that was even a suggestion, and I think for Tom Schwartz, the issue is women my age, your age, his age, they have no interest in someone who has been incapable of creating a career outside of Bravo. He's
Ugh.
failed at basically, like, every venture he's done,
Well, he's
and
broke living next to Jax
I
in, like,
know.
some sort of, like, West Hollywood apartment. I mean,
And
it's
so
a
we're just gonna
really sad
thrust
situation.
that on a young woman who doesn't necessarily need all of that baggage.
And
I
I'm
don't
a
know.
Tom sympathizer. I
I
hate
know
to
you
say
are.
it. I hate to say it. I am. I'm a Tom sympathizer, and this is not good for him. We are not moving in a positive direction,
Yeah, I don't
and I'm
know.
invested.
I'm curious to see if they put him on the Valley next year, and
God.
we can talk through
Hopefully, he
that.
finds love on Love Hotel, and he's able to just ride off into the sunset.
Oh, yeah, I haven't even watched that. I need to give it a look.
Well, because right now it's all old housewives, and next season it's, like, Jesse Lolly, him, and a couple other people.
Is that next season
Yeah,
or
the
are they
next
saying
season of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
the
okay.
next season is gonna be guys, and it's gonna be Tom Schwartz, Jesse Lolly, there's a couple others.
Okay. Alright. Well, then this is a good segue to the valet. Let's talk about last night's episode. I wanna set up I know what will be a debate between me and you. The biggest issues of conflict in the show were, 1, this idea that they set up, Brit's bar the day before Jax got out. That's one point of contention, the Brittany and Jax of it all. The other point of contention is the Janet and Jason versus Danny and Nia. And so, which
Well,
one do you
please
wanna talk
please
about?
jump in. I want you to express your opinion on either
No,
one of
no, no,
those.
because you watch what happens and you were shaken to your core
Well,
that
no, I will
people.
I will I'll speak my truth.
Go
I would
ahead.
like you to decide which one you wanna start with, and I would like you to express your opinion first.
Okay, let's start with the Jackson Brittany because I think
Alright.
the other one might be even juicier. What are your thoughts on how that's being handled, how Jax is reacting, you know, whatever?
Okay, I mean, I don't wanna look like a Jack sympathizer, but
Oh god.
I will say, knowing that he is, quote, unquote, "coming out of this," you know, rehab facility the next day, knowing that he has access to a phone, knowing that he's gonna get wind of it, they transform his bar, like one of the few things he has in his life, to his name, and they transform it into Brits, and they make a big thing out of it. Now, granted, some of this is for the show, some of this is just, they want to create these kinds of moments, but the idea that he's just supposed to shrug that off and not be upset by it, I think honestly, given the circumstances, he handled it fairly well. He didn't explode. I mean, he acted like a lunatic, but he didn't explode in Jack's fashion. And he was able to just walk out. So I mean, in those terms, like for all the stuff that he was enduring, having to hear from Zach and all of that, like I think he handled himself okay on the first day back. But he's still a freaking lunatic. And he's only one little infringement from, like, completely going unhinged.
See, I am just like, first of all, you and I talked about that. There's no way he was in an actual rehab facility. I don't know what
No.
it was,
You can
but
leave, you can have your phone?
yeah, he somehow got an hour off every day, was sending rage texts, was tapping into their live feed into their house and listening in on her. All insane, like stalking behaviors that he's
Oh,
doing.
indeed.
So, given all of that and what she endured, I just think it's what one thing about Jax is he's so good at deflecting, right? So if you're like, "Jax, it's really crazy that you were physical and throwing stuff at Brittany and doing it in front of your son and blah, blah." He's like, "Yeah, but did you know what she did to my bar?" Like,
I'm
he
really
equates
interested to
those
see.
things.
Yeah, I am really interested to see, or I don't know that we will see, but what I'd like to hear is there seems to be a lot that we don't know about, right? Like a
Well, of
lot of things
course.
that happen because even the way that like Jason and people like that talk to Jax about it, and definitely Schwartz are like, you think about the things you've done to her, think about the things that you
Oh,
did. And
yeah.
and I'm like, Wait, we don't really know that much other than like the one instance where he like broke their coffee table or something. Like,
Well, we know it's bad when they are all like, "This is really bad,"
oh
especially the
yeah.
Vanderpump people who
No,
have
of course.
been through Scandal, been through all of that, and they're like,
Oh,
"Yo, you're lucky that you're
like
married to her."
no, no, like, truly shocking, and like, if you just look at Tom Schwartz's eyes in the after show
Oh
or
my
on Watch What
god.
Happens Live, like, anytime that Jack says, "I'm sober, I've been sober for 200 and something days," you look at freaking, Tom's eyes, and it's just like when he had, had sex with people in Vegas
Mhm,
and
and they
was
were all
trying to keep
lying.
those secrets, like, it's the same face, like, he knows so much.
Well, what I'm curious about in terms of the sobriety is sober from what? Because he made it a point multiple times on
Sober from anger.
camera, yeah, to be like, I'm not drinking, like, I'm still drinking. Drinking's not my problem, it's my anger. My anger is my problem." And I was like, "Bro, I thought it was the cocaine, like,
Well,
what are"
it's tequila.
Right.
The secret password that was
Cocaine.
cocaine on Vanderpump is anytime they said tequila, they were really meant cocaine, and I think that really was some of what was causing him to be really erratic,
Yeah.
but the drinking, I mean, my god. I mean, how many examples do I need to pull out of the canon that is Vanderpump behavior to show
Mhm.
you, like, the drinking is a huge part of it.
But, like, if he is still what is he sober from? Is he just saying he's sober from cocaine? I just
Well,
think it's
you
interesting to
can't
be
be
like,
sober
"I'm
from one
sober."
thing. You're either sober or you're not. I mean, at least is the way I understand it.
Well, see, I think that there are loopholes, and that's why I think it's interesting he's choosing the word sober because the connotation there is no alcohol, no drugs, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
I've heard
California
California
sober
sober,
for,
but
like, weed or whatever, but in terms of, like, actual harder drugs and alcohol, usually when people say sober, that is what they mean. And
Well, from
he
addictive substances, and
right.
it could be argued that
Well,
maybe
his
weed
addictive
isn't
substance
as
is anger.
a yeah, yeah. My
Like, what?
yeah, yes.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Maybe he's given up cursing or something. Maybe that's what
Oh
he means.
god. Well, I have no sympathy for him. Like, I really don't. I thought it was funny what they did because, again, I just think all he does is say, like, "Poor me. They did this to me the day before I came out." Okay, while you were in there, you were stalking your wife, you were changing the cameras, you did not pay your bills and didn't tell her for
That no,
months.
that's totally valid.
I'm
I
sorry
think
that a prank upset you that she didn't even do.
well, I completely agree. I think the thing that I'm the most upset about and the reason that it, like, upset me is they chose to give him that ammunition when
Yes,
they
that's
know
true.
that's how he is.
Yeah,
And that's what I mean
and he
by
won't shut up about it.
yeah, not thinking through it and not thinking about how it would affect all of them is that now he has that, and
Yeah.
he manipulates with that, and he uses that as a way to, like, almost like you said, like he was doing even in the house as they're packing up all of his crap, he's sitting there going like, "Well, oh, you can't keep my kid from me. You can't keep my kid. You take over my bar and then you keep my kid from me?" You know what I mean? Just going
Well, and
insane.
she's not trying to get I mean, that was the whole thing, like, you can see him flip a switch, right? When they're like, "Hey, can you log out of the cameras?" Well, he doesn't want to not be able to control her and stalk her. So
No,
immediately, "No, not until I know about Cruz." And they're
no,
like, "Hey,
exactly.
that's hostile. Don't do that."
Don't do that, and that's another thing, it's like this whole thing with Jason, uh, I think it was Jason and, Tom
Schwartz.
Schwartz that were there, like, you can tell they know so much, and they're like, "Do
Mhm.
not do that, do not do that," because, like, in the in the grand scheme of the show, it's like you're thinking like, "Wow, they're being kinda harsh with him, like, for what we've seen," at
Oh
least in
god, I
my
didn't think
mind.
that.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying that's kinda how I was feeling about it because they're giving him the ammunition to say these things on TV. You know what I mean?
I just think there's no way that rehab did anything for him and that he's just trying to do this was his way of trying to rebrand, trying to garner some sympathy from the fans because he knew that they caught him doing something psychotic. I think he is good at trying to, like, control a narrative, but he is it reminds me of when he got married and went to the gym, like, 300 times because he was spiraling out of control. Um
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I've
and
completely forgotten about that.
yeah, he just anytime something happens that he doesn't like, it's interesting because he
And she's
can't
like, "Why the hell you going to the gym again, Jax?"
Jack's rotten hell.
"Why
God,
why the hell you going to the gym again, Jax?"
I'm not gonna give you any more Mama's bear cheese. Yeah, no, Jack's Um, I can't. No, I literally can't believe they even got married and that she
Yeah.
stayed with him after that, but I'm glad she's getting out. I thought that the most unhinged part well, 2, 1, that his burner account was so funny. Do you wanna talk about the name that he chose?
Well, yeah, he chose the name. I mean, I immediately knew what he was going for because it's the name of Leslie Nielsen's character in Naked Gun, which is Frank Drebin, but he spelled it wrong, and it took years of him having this name, and then it finally came out on Watch What Happens Live. Someone in the audience basically was like, "You're wrong. It's not spelled that way. What are you trying to do here?"
Yeah, that was really embarrassing for him and
Yeah,
very
it
funny,
really
but Jax
was.
is no stranger to saying things incorrectly or trying to understand a phrase or combining 2 phrases. They've got a lot of funny stuff of him doing that on Vanderpump. What did
Agreed.
you think about the dinner when he comes back, aside from all of, like, the early 2010s fashion with him having that blown out neck T-shirt?
I mean, let's just go through that.
Okay.
Danny is wearing a denim shirt with pearl buttons.
Mhm.
Okay. Jax is in a full-on 2011 scoop neck.
Yeah, oh my god, like, why do I see your collarbone?
Jesse is wearing tattered worship leader jeans. And Zach is in a blue camo terry cloth suit in the heat of
Yeah.
summer. What is happening in that episode?
The boys need some stylists,
I
like,
mean, it is some of the worst I have seen on television,
it's actually
period.
really bad, yeah. I had hoped for more from Jessie Lawley, but That was rough. I think Danny is just permanently stuck in about 2012 in terms of
Oh, it's
fashion,
bad. It's
and
real
Jax is
bad.
not far off. Jax is maybe like a 2015
So
situation.
let's get into the Danny of it all. Like, give me your
Okay,
take on the current Danny situation because
so
I think we have different takes, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
sure. Never in my life did I think that how I see things, that my moral compass would be Kristen Doty, but here we are.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay. So I think Jack said something at that dinner that I think was really interesting knowing his personality. He got a whiff that they were trying to go after Danny for drinking, and he literally said, "I'm so glad other people have issues too, so it takes the heat off me," which is why he was cranking it up on
Okay.
Danny. This weird the only people really talking through this narrative are Janet and Jason and, oh, what's her name?
Jasmine.
Jasmine and her girlfriend, right? Jasmine, I get being uncomfortable and frustrated by it. I do think it's interesting that this happened originally off camera months. I think they said around Halloween.
The touching
So,
thing,
right.
the where Danny went dark and
Mhm.
started touching Jasmine's butt
Well,
or
he didn't
something like
touch
that.
Jasmine's butt. I think he touched her girlfriend's, and then he told Jasmine, "Get daddy a drink," which is
Oh,
hilarious.
oh no.
Um, but obviously that behavior is unacceptable, but it is interesting that they were like, "This is what we're gonna do this season," and what's come out since then is that Jax and a couple other people were mad that Danny and Nia were kind of seen in this really delightful light, and they were going to find something specific to go at them for. I think Danny or Nia once said on a podcast that, like, Jax basically was like, "I'm coming after you for this. I don't feel like you're giving enough."
Well, I don't disagree with that assessment, and the fact that he's rolling around even last season slurring his words and can barely walk and talk. I mean, there is a problem here.
Right, but I think the problem honestly, it seems to me that the issue is that he really does not drink very often, and
Mhm.
then they are on a TV show where they go on these trips together or go
Super
out for these
stressful
things.
situations, and
He's
he's
got
already tired from the
Yeah,
kids and
he's
all
got 3
this.
kids, now he's got 4, he's working full time, like, I mean, Nia obviously is getting paid to be on the show, and she does her podcast and does other stuff, but she's primarily at home with their children, so he's out doing voice work, doing all the stuff, and I think he he tries to drink the same amount that they do, but he
Well,
does not
that's
have that
impossible.
tolerance. Exactly.
No.
And so I think that happens, and Nia does a good job of when she starts to see it, being like, "Hey, alright, let's go," which is what you want in a partner.
Well,
I
of
get
course, of
that it's
course.
not great for a TV show, like, I totally understand that, but I think what Danny and Nia bring to the show is not necessarily that type of mess. I think that
No.
they're showing, like, how you have to like she wants another child, he wants a bigger house. They're trying to figure out these compromises that are real when you're having children.
I think their storylines are actually very relatable for people
Yeah,
in their particular situation, especially being in LA and like trying to quote unquote make it, but you're
right.
trying to have kids. Like, I totally agree with all of that. I think I understand though, especially with the whole controversy around uh Janet's husband and like Jasmine trying to say that he was taking his ring off and all of that. Like, I
That is
understand
stupid.
yeah, I understand why they're also, like, trying to be like, "Why is it that we are sharing all these aspects of our life and Danny and Nia aren't?"
Sure, I just don't think they're as messy. Like, I think that's the difference, and that is not their role on that show. Like, some shows need, like, a group of people who you're like, "Okay, they got their head on straight," right?
Well, yeah, and I hope that that's yeah, yeah.
I actually think Janet and Jason are much more boring than Nia and Danny, to be perfectly honest. I think everything that's going on with them is contrived. And Jason taking Jax's side, I mean, like, I really think he's gonna be changed. I really but Danny, what a mess. I'm like, "Excuse me? You're gonna skewer Danny And we're just gonna ignore the fact that Jax has learned nothing, went to, like, a fake rehab, has been acting completely psychotic to a woman who is trying desperately to get out from under his control,
It's really hard for me because, like, as you know, I'm a Janet stan,
which
and
mind-boggling.
I think I'm maybe, like, one of the only people
I think
on
so.
the on planet Earth that are a Janet stan, but I just, like, I kinda ride for her, and I can't even express why, but it's just, like, I kind of like her takes, and I start to believe them, and then, like, someone like you brings up, like, "But what about this and this?" And it's like, I don't wanna believe it because it's anti-Janet.
Well, I think Janet is honest in her takes and is willing to, like, be brutal to someone's face,
Well,
but
and she's exposed some lies, like, the whole
yeah,
thing like, Jasmine was straight up lying, she did say that
yeah.
about the ring, and then when she confronts her about it, she's like, "I never said that," which also makes Kristen look bad, which I hate because I love Kristen. Kristen is a truth teller
She
when it comes
is.
to this kinda stuff, and she was only relaying and even to this day is still saying, "I'm only relaying what Jasmine told me."
Yeah. She wasn't even I don't even think she cared that much about it being a storyline. She was just kinda like, "LOL, he's all upset about this, and this is a rumor about him."
Yeah, meanwhile, he's taking his ring off, which I
Yeah.
totally understood in that moment because they talk crap on her and Luke all the time.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
obvious.
Yeah. And I think, Kristen really rides for Danny and Nia. And again, like somehow Detective Doty has become the person I look to. And the other thing you know about Kristen is that she knows everything.
Well,
She's like the sheep of that show.
I think that was kind of clear in the Luke testimonial from this episode where he was
Mhm.
like, "Nia and Danny are a nice Christian couple, so we can trust them." And I think honestly, like in a way, even though Luke and Kristen aren't necessarily that way, they look at that as like a cute innocence.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because,
Mhm.
like, they probably didn't grow up that way or whatever, and so they kinda
Mhm.
naively look at them and like, "Oh, how cute," they do their own thing and yada, yada, yada. So I see the connection there.
Mhm. Yeah. I just think trying to make it out like Danny has some insane pervasive issue when we have Jax at the table
With
is
the editing, though,
actually crazy.
they are making Danny look like a freaking drunk. It's
Well,
like
Danny
every
got
episode.
loaded once last season. We know about this issue at Halloween, and it happened once twice this season. So I'm sorry, in 2 years, if cameras followed me around everywhere,
No, of course,
they'd
of
be seeing
course.
some things too.
No,
But,
no,
like
no, but that's what I'm saying, that's what we have to keep in mind is the edit is there, and so, like,
yeah.
any opportunity they have to showcase the 15 minutes where he had had one too many drinks and was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, Janet, meh, meh, meh," you know what I'm
See,
saying?
I
Like,
don't even think he was that bad in the episode at the bar. He just was butting in, and she didn't like that.
yeah, he was in that mode where you're being a little too loud,
Yeah.
you're getting involved in conversations that you're not even really a part of, like, no, I completely agree with that.
I just think they're being ridiculous about it. After all we've seen on Bravo, you're gonna make me believe that Danny is dark side Danny. Get serious.
Yeah, and that,
If
like,
anything,
I
I'm
mean
more upset about his fashion choices.
I will say I'm very leery of what they've done to him and bringing up multiple times the whole essay of it all. Like,
Yeah.
that's really I mean, that's really sketchy to keep bringing that up over and over again,
I
like,
mean,
for his
yeah.
sake. I mean, I understand it, like, you know, Jasmine needs to speak her truth on that, like,
Yeah.
and obviously cameras didn't see what happened, but even after all the apologies and accepting the apologies, we're still on it, and so I'm
Mhm.
like, "Okay, are we okay or are we not okay? If we're not okay, that's fine, but."
I do think he should probably cool it with the drinking at this
Oh,
point. If multiple people
absolutely.
have told him, like, whatever, but then they can't get mad at him for not bringing mess to the show. You know what I mean?
You
Like,
are being accused of sexually harassing women, like,
yeah.
you need to stop
Like
drinking,
touching and
period.
groping. Yeah, like you
Period.
gotta let it go. And I do think he, like so many men who are very nice normally, get a little too much to drink and then act really unlike their normal selves. because they are used to just being the nice guy, they're like, "Oh, I'll just apologize and this will go away."
Yeah,
And
I
so, like,
don't
the
yeah, that's the vibe I don't
consequences.
like of him,
Yeah.
getting back to that whole thing of, like, "I'm easy, I'm nice." It's like, well, you
Mhm.
did touch someone,
Right.
and you are getting hammered drunk and don't remember. So, don't sit here and be all defensive because, like, I think, like, when Jason really initially brought it up at that lunch, like, his reaction was insane.
Mhm.
Danny's reaction was over the top. Like, he should have just been like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry. I'll actually be more considerate, and I did get too drunk,"
Mhm.
But instead, like, he turned up the volume on it. And it's
Well,
like,
I think he was just acutely aware. It's interesting watching people from a season 1 to a season 2 of a show, people who've never been on reality TV. The fact that it was coming up again, I think sparked in his brain, "Oh, they're doing a storyline on this. They're
yeah,
trying to
yeah, yeah.
act like I am this person that I do not believe myself to be."
They
And
need to
so
speak that, honestly, because it helps
yeah,
the
break the
the
fourth wall a
viewer.
little bit.
It
Yeah.
helps the viewer because, like, honestly, I don't follow it enough online. Now I'll have to because we're doing this podcast, but I don't follow it enough not to just have my own, like, unhinged takes
I think
because,
having
like
your own unhinged takes is great. I like that.
okay. Okay, yeah, because 'cause
I
I'm
don't
just
need
like,
you following online.
I'm not thinking about this through the lens of, like, what I know beyond the show, you know?
Well, this is not stuff that I've read online. This is my own assumption from having watched it.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
it
yeah,
were
okay.
me and my friends were coming to me multiple times to, like, have a sit down with cameras and the subject each time was my drinking, I would
It's
immediately be like,
yeah.
"Excuse?"
No, no, like well, I mean, there would be some sort of either contrition or, like, maybe self-realization that, "Okay, I need to stop."
No, I would be pissed. Like, not if I had done what he had done, like, I understand what you're saying with him, but, like, I'm just thinking as, like, as a regular person, if I got a little hammered and got, like, a little too loud, I get very happy, unfortunately, and well, I guess fortunately, but I feel like it makes people want me to drink more.
Well, this
Um
is a well, this is a little picture into our different, personalities.
Mhm.
I'm just very susceptible to all forms of shame and guilt, and if
Yeah.
someone came to me and was like, "You're drinking too much," I'm like, "Yeah, I know I'm drinking too much," and you'd be
And I'd
like,
be like,
"How
"Bitch, no,
dare
I'm
you?
not.
How dare you bring this up in
Get out
front
of
of
my
the
house."
cameras?"
Yeah. Who do you think you are? "Oh, you think I drink too much? Let's talk about you." And I would
Oh,
bring
see,
up
that's just not
something
me.
where I just absolutely went in for the kill.
Eviscerate them. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
well.
I don't love that about myself, but that is true.
No,
And
but
so I
that's
think that was,
okay.
like,
We
his
balance each other.
reaction. We do. But that was Danny's reaction. He was, like, becoming aware of how this was going to be perceived,
Mhm.
and I think that that was frustrating for him. And the truth is, like, Jason and Jana didn't really have a storyline aside from her being mad at him about an incident from nearly a year before and her being mad at Jasmine about the wedding ring comment that wasn't even interesting or a thing.
We love it.
I'm like, "What did y'all do then?" Like, all I saw was Janet talking about how everybody upset her, but she was just yelling at people the whole time.
You know yeah, yeah. I mean, I love Janet. I stand for Janet.
I don't hate Janet. I just think I want Janet and Jason to figure out everybody in these shows kind of finds a persona, right?
Mhm.
And sticks to that when cameras are rolling. They are themselves, but they understand you gotta kinda heighten it for the cameras.
I actually think that they do what Danny and Nia are actually being accused of. I actually
Yeah,
think that Danny and Nia bring more to the show
that was
in
my
terms of
point.
because they fight. Now that I'm thinking back, like, they do kind of snip at each other
Yep.
or, like, they've been bringing this whole argument about the bigger house and moving to Valencia and all of that.
Mhm.
And then, Janet and Jason are always aligned, even if it's absolutely unhinged, which, I mean, that's how we ride,
Sure,
but and I think that's
but we
healthy
aren't
in a
on
marriage,
reality
but we're
TV.
not on reality TV.
Yeah. So they're
Yeah.
trying to manipulate all of their storylines into being about other people. And I think the
Right,
audience,
right.
I mean, the Bravo audience is a smart audience and people are really annoyed by that. And I think they're going to have to do something different to stay relevant to
We'll
this.
see, we'll see.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about the Love Island of it all before we shut down for the pod.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This week, Love Island was giving. It was such a good week. We had a recoupling after Bombshells plus another recoupling. And we obviously are going to start by talking about the Huda crash out of it all.
Mm.
Give me your initial thoughts.
I mean, I've actually talked about this with Madison, our friend who was on the first episode. It's just like I believe that Huda is so unbelievably unhinged that anything I say about her, it will age extremely horribly. And so I'm literally frightened to talk crap about her because like I think she really is like mentally ill.
And what's making you say that?
I think like, she created a narrative in her head just off of this recoupling that America did.
Mhm.
That Jeremiah was lying to her, that he was out of his mind, that he was, calling him all kinds of names, flipping out, like creating this false narrative that he had treated her bad, that he didn't come to her aid when they got recoupled and all of this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, he's telling all his guys, like standing up for her and being like, why did you separate us? Like, I've just found someone that I really like and you guys are jealous. And she's over there just like trashing him,
Mhm.
losing her mind.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just shows that she's been in toxic relationships
Yes,
before,
and that
you
he
know,
has
and
it
that he has
because
that he's somehow okay with this.
yeah.
And he goes back over and over the next 24 hours, like trying to reconnect with her, trying to get her to see, even apologizing, saying like, I really should have come and been by your side and comforted you when we were recoupled. But honestly, I was taken aback and I'm wondering the same way you were, like, what is America seeing that I'm not seeing? What are my friends seeing that I'm not seeing? Like, I needed 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And, like, I just like, the fact that she could just not hear it, and she just kept going on and on and on.
Well, I mean, I told you when she came back from that date with him and he had said, "Listen, like, we can be long distance for this amount of time, then maybe I can move to your city, and then, if things go well, we progress from there." And she walks back and tells the girls, "Jeremiah wants to live with me." Like,
Oh,
that
yeah.
is a level of delusion that is why she seems to me like she's delusional. She hears what she wants to hear, right? There are just some
Oh,
people who hear that.
creating the false universe
Oh,
in
yeah,
her
creating a
mind.
whole separate narrative of what's actually happening and then no impulse control.
Oh,
So, when that happened, she was like, "Oh, America's trying to protect me." And even when he's telling her, he literally said, "I think you're switching it." And she was like, "No, no, no. America is telling me that you're a liar and you're a little bitch ass."
this just goes back to what we're always saying about the modern man unable to explain himself and speak clearly about what he's feeling and seeing in a relationship, and he was unable to do that. I will say that.
See, I
In her defense.
disagree. I think that he was really clear.
I think, like, he did try, but he needed to be real with her, like, what he feels like America was seeing.
He tried, and she immediately started to blow, and I think at that point, he was exhausted.
Yeah, I have to give him that. Yeah, I
I mean,
mean, I
she had talked his ear off. Brandon, their biggest fight prior to that
mhm,
moment was that he made her a pancake, and she felt like it was undercooked and asked another man to make her a pancake,
yeah,
and she
yeah.
was mad that
You
he
know,
didn't go, like, confront the man for making her a pancake.
I honestly wrote in my notes, like, "Try to find a sympathetic note for Huda here," and
Mhm.
I was really trying. I
Oh.
don't think I can do it.
Okay, well, this is what I will say for Huda. Here's what I keep thinking. When something like that happens that's, like, genuinely shocking and upsetting in a relationship, and you feel like everybody is seeing something you don't, that is a horrible feeling,
Oh,
right?
and the TV of it all, and the
Well
being in the middle of nowhere, and you really aren't seeing the full picture, and you don't know what he's saying to these
and
other
she
guys.
she has no like, everybody has crashed out from time to time. Like, imagine me, remember how nuts I was in college? Like,
Mm.
if this had been me at that time, I would have been, like, furious, throwing stuff, yeah, like, absolutely toxic and crazy too, not to the level she is. I think I would have mostly tried to be by myself doing that, because I wouldn't want other people to see it, and then I would
Uh-huh.
try to make that person jealous. But just having, like, a stink face and then going and eavesdropping and yelling at him and calling him all these names. It's just wild to watch because we know as viewers, she's actually the one who lied to him
Oh,
by omission, like,
absolutely,
didn't tell
absolutely.
him for a week, they're spending every day together, that she has a child.
And
And,
he
like
handled that better than any man I know that would have
yeah,
handled it.
and I think, like, it's her choice how she wants to do that. I can't imagine trying to navigate those
Oh, of
waters at
course, of
24.
course.
But not telling him and then demanding that he have the right reaction, and then getting mad about a pancake, getting
Oh.
anytime any of the other girls got attention, she would just go to Jeremiah and be like, "Do more." And he's
But the
like,
thing
"What?"
is, like, she was doing, like, so much in these challenges and, like, macking on these dudes and,
Well,
like,
and
kissing.
no, she was, like, yelling at all of the girls, like, "Don't kiss him." And when a new bombshell would come in, she would basically threaten them.
I know, but she was not doing the same on her end. She's kissing these guys and being like, "Oh, he's so hot and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Let me get me some," and all of this.
She just was way too territorial. Like, for Love Island, like, you can't do that, and I am sad for her already, like, my stomach hurts thinking about what it's going to be like for her to emerge from the island.
Well, I've gotta give it to the Love Island editors. They are doing some of the best TV editing for reality TV that I've seen in a long time. They're doing it day by day. They're getting us these episodes, and they are impeccably edited.
I mean, the
And
music, everything
oh,
is absolutely perfect. Taylor is giving so many good, like, memeable eye rolls. I mean,
yes.
the way Huda came over to all those people trying to get support after that last conversation with Jeremiah, and they all just got up one by one trying to get out of there. And it's like she cannot read a room that all the girls are scared of her. That's the only reason they kept her. I'm assuming that Ace kept her there at the end, after the recoupling because he wanted Jalen to go home so that Taylor could be safe with Alandria. Um, but I think that that will end up being a real mistake. I did think it was very funny though when she's like running away from Jeremiah and she's like, "He's just using me as an scapegoat."
Oh my lord.
It's like, "Baby
Yeah.
girl, learn."
I will say, like, just speaking about Love Island in the grand scheme, Katie Thurston on Instagram yesterday was just talking about what makes it so good and that,
Mhm.
like, talking about, like, keeping the cameras hidden, not putting limits on the time that they can spend together, like,
Mhm.
not overproducing. And I think these are, like, great lessons from the fall of her franchise, The Bachelor,
Mhm.
where they do all of those things. Like,
Yeah.
there's way too much producing. There's way too much, like, camera in your face moments.
Yeah.
There's way too much, like, meddling. And I think, like, the drama will come. These people will, like, create the
Yeah.
show,
Well, the
and you've gotta
challenges
rely on that.
create the drama in and of itself. Like, you
Yes,
need them to
yes.
develop deep enough feelings and know each other well enough for that drama to erupt.
And also, like, Bachelor just has way too many people. So,
Yeah.
like, they have to create standouts in the story pretty quickly.
Well, that's why
Or
Bachelor in Paradise was the best part of the
yes,
franchise.
exactly. And, oh, man, they need somebody to come in and fully revamp that show.
What are your thoughts about Alandria choosing Taylor?
It seemed like she's not sure about this relationship, but that it seems like the path of least resistance. And I think she likes him enough to not wanna hurt him, and she
Mhm.
wasn't sure enough about Jalen
Mhm.
to put Taylor in danger. Like, if there was a way where she knew Taylor would not be in danger, but
Mhm.
she could keep Jalen, I think she would have.
Hmm.
But I think knowing that the end result of the game was gonna be that whoever was left would be in danger of leaving, she
Mhm.
wasn't sure enough to explore something without the opportunity to go back to Taylor.
I was so sad for Jalen. He was such a sweetheart. It was
Yeah,
adorable
and
watching the
honestly, a
guys
great
pack him
fit for
up.
her,
Yeah.
truly.
But it was so cute watching the guys, like, go up with him, pack him up, talk about how proud they were that he got his passport. It was his first time out of the country.
Which was a really sweet moment.
I know. He was just so cute and sweet. I was sad to see him go. I wanted her to be I when Ace jumped in line and then was like, "No, I'm not gonna, slap your hand or whatever," when she said, "Thank you," for a minute, I was just like, "What in the world?" And then it dawned on me that he was trying to keep her, I guess, to keep Taylor from having to compete with Jalen.
Yeah, well, he would I mean, Ace would not even shake hands with Huda even though he was standing behind her.
Yeah,
He literally said, "F no." Like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna shake your hand."
Okay, well, in terms of couples that you're rooting for, who are you rooting for the most right now?
Oh, boy. I mean, uh, I don't like Nick, but I love Sierra, so, like,
Mhm,
whatever makes Sierra happy,
mhm.
you know? If Sierra needs to hook up with a bombshell to end up happy, that's great. If she needs to stay with Nick, that's fine too. I love her, so I really want her to be happy. I re you know, I mean, this is controversial because I really don't like Ace, but for all of this, like, we at least need to see if this Shelly and Ace thing can
Mhm,
work. Like, I'm interested to see how long that lasts and if they are able to really commit to each other. So that interests me, even though, like, I don't really have a dog in the fight whether they actually stay together or not.
mhm.
That's kinda where I'm at, and I mean, I love Austin, and he speaks my heart language.
Oof. Well, Austin's like
Is he like some sort of, like, Trumper or something?
yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, we can disagree about politics. I still like him on the show.
I mean, he doesn't seem like the sharpest tool in the shed, so
Oh,
maybe
of
he could
course not,
be
that's why I
met with
like
some
him.
facts, but he
Yeah,
is funny. Like, there's no doubt that he is providing some comedic relief. Like, when
I
he
love it.
laughed at Huda and she was like, "Are you laughing?" He's like, "Yeah."
I mean, man, he when he saw that that happened, he really brought the moment to us.
I know. I feel really bad for Iris. I hate
Oh,
that she felt like a second choice, that she's just like she's so beautiful, and these men are like, "Well, what about Huda?" And she's like, "What?"
she rolled in at a very inopportune
Like a
time.
precarious
Yeah,
time.
for her I mean, honestly, we just hope that there's a bombshell. But see, that's the thing. I think there's actually female bombshells coming in right now because they sent in 2 guys
Oh, so maybe
recently.
it'll be 2 ladies and a man,
Yeah, or something like that. I'm unsure about what
or
they're gonna
just
do
1.
there.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do it. Yeah, I agree. I think well, with the Ace and Shelly of it all, I don't like that he's trying to make her chase him. That feels like an insecure move to
Well,
me.
I mean, he's off. Let's just be honest. Like, I mean,
He's like
it's a
a little tiny terrorist in that
yeah.
group.
I'm scared.
He and Huda, all of, like, the very short ones are like, "You know
His
what?"
take his takes are out of control too, like, just I mean, even his take on the Hooded Jeremiah thing is really kinda unhinged in my
"What do you
mind.
mean?"
Like, how he came at them so hard about, like, not connecting with other people and being so closed off,
So
like, I just don't understand that.
I think a lot of that is less about their relationship. What we got glimpses of and what I think was really turning off everyone to them was every time there was a challenge, nobody felt like they could actually include them in the challenge.
Right, there was, like, a level of being afraid that they would offend Huda or
Yeah, that
and I
she
think
would
that's why
freak
there was
out.
actually more hostility towards her in
Well, yeah, because it was
this whole
her that was
thing.
doing it.
No, I agree,
And
that's a
so
good point.
I think that's what Ace was talking about more than anything. I don't think he really cared that they were, like, locked in as a couple, much the same way, like, Sierra and Nick had been for the last week or whatever,
Right, so that's
but
what so surprised me about that
Sierra
whole
and
thing.
Nick had, we had Bella before, we had, like, all
Mhm,
this other
mhm.
stuff. So, I think Ace's point I actually agreed with him where it's like, you can't even participate in a challenge. You're yelling at a bombshell who's just walked in, has no idea what happened, and
Well
chose your man, and you're telling everyone not to talk to her?
well, and the thing is like, Jeremiah did participate, and he did kiss all of the girls and
And she
everything,
lost her
and she
mind.
lost her mind, but she kissed all the guys, she kissed all the new bombshells,
Mhm.
she was all licking her lips and all of this,
Yeah.
and somehow that's all okay, but the moment he does anything, it's like, "You don't love me anymore? You don't care about
Yeah.
my kid?"
Yeah. I don't find any of the men to be a person that I would have any interest in. I actually when I first saw Pepe, I thought that he was, like, not very attractive, but the
Mhm.
more that I'm watching him with Hannah, like, he's very quiet, he's very sure of himself, seems really nice. I'm kinda like, "Okay, he could be an interesting one to watch."
Well, it's those intangibles that you can't pick up on
It's just
just
like
looking at someone, you know,
yes.
like he may smell good, he may
Mhm.
have a certain aura, he may bring a certain energy into a room,
For
and
sure.
you're just unable to see that, and so all you're seeing is like, this guy is not necessarily conventionally attractive in the ways that
Mhm.
think he should be, even though he is, like, muscle bound and all
Right.
this.
I mean, he needs
But
some finasteride, but yes.
But that's the whole thing. It's like you don't know what the intangibles are. Like there's what if Ace stinks? What if,
Sure.
like, these
Yeah,
kinds of
you don't know. You don't know till you know, but, you're right. There is just, like, a level of, like, charisma, of pheromones, of things like that, that you can't quite put your finger on, so I'm curious to see how that goes. Sierra is my number 1. I care so much about making sure that she is happy.
protect my queen.
I am absolutely upset with her. I can't stand Huda.
Mm.
I would say, like, my top 3 right now that I am so interested in would be definitely Sierra. I really do care about Olandria. Like, I
Me
want
too.
her to find what she's looking for. I think she's got really good energy, and I like her.
The fact
Um,
that Taylor's not fully attracted to Orlandria,
is that
like
the issue? Like, I honestly
that's what he
can't.
said. He said that. He said that they connected with their minds, but that he initially wasn't attracted to her.
I'm like, "How?" I'm attracted
Oh
to her.
my word.
She's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think those I obviously care about Shelly too. I think I'm frustrated that she seems to be falling under Ace's spell.
Well, she's
Um,
gotta try it out.
yep,
She's wanted to
she's
be
been
with
in
him since the very
limbo.
beginning.
Yeah.
He needs to go and experience that, and Austin's not off the table. I mean, he's tired of being in this triangle, and
Well, now
so
he's gonna be with Amaya, and I don't know the Amayas are gonna pop up out of
no,
him one morning.
that's what I'm saying, like, that's not gonna last, and so there's still chance for Shelly to find love in 2 different spots with 2 very
Well, and
different
there could be
guys.
different people coming in. I actually hope that the Austin and Amaya of it all kind of works out. I think that they both have like, really interesting energy, and to see them interact is pretty cute. Austin seemed really excited to be out of that love triangle and actually interested in someone else.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, what are your predictions for what's coming up?
I mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, I'm really interested to see what happens with the crash out with Huda. I mean, we have not even scratched the surface of what is going to happen there, and
Uh,
to see the previews from Thursday where like everybody's like, I'm done
mhm.
with her. Like, I'll be interested to see if the girls do the same,
Well, that's
because
why I
they're
love
afraid of her
Sierra. Well, see no, Sierra was the only one. I do think she's afraid of her to some extent, but she was the
in the
only
preview. In the
one
preview,
who said to her face, like, "The name calling needs to stop."
that's a good point. That's a very good
And so
point.
she was, like, clocking stuff and in a respectful way, being like, "Feel your feelings, but, like, maybe cool it on calling him outside his name." And I
Clearly.
think that she is reaching like, you can see her we're even as viewers, we're all like, "Oh my god, get a grip." But the other thing I feel bad for Hoda about is, again, like, you're on that island. When this happens in real life, you're like, "I'm gonna focus on work. I'm gonna focus on cleaning my house. I'm gonna focus on my dog." Like, when you're feeling big feelings that you're just trying to distract she has
Oh, there's
no
nothing.
distraction.
There's nothing.
It's just and
I
his
mean, I
new
have a lot
connection
of
is right in her face.
Well, yeah, and I have a lot of sympathy for everyone involved in this because I
Yeah.
mean, this is set up for you not to be your best self. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, and that's why we love it so much.
yeah.
And so somebody who has like anger issues
Mhm.
and commitment issues and
Obviously
everything else is going to be
yeah.
fully on display here.
Well, yeah, her attachment style and his are
Oh boy.
not working out. Like, she is very anxiously attached, needs constant affirmation, but so much of it is she wants it to look a certain way, and
Well,
that's
I
what the
don't even
red
know.
flag should be to him.
Well, and another thing is I don't think that he could do it in any way that would meet the expectation.
No.
Even if she told him exactly what to do and he did it, she would be like, "Well, why is it not like this?"
Literally, that happened. She was like,
Yeah,
"I want you to bring my breakfast earlier," and then he brings her something, and she's like, "That doesn't have protein."
and it's also not cooked enough.
Yeah,
Like,
and she was
good
like,
God.
"Okay." So yeah, I mean, I find her I'm kinda done with it. I'm ready for her to rock and roll out. I want Jeremiah to have he will not have an honest chance at exploring something unless she's gone. And Iris won't have a chance to explore something with someone else unless she's gone. Like right
I'm
now, I
hoping
really
she
feel sorry for
chooses to
her.
leave, honestly. Like,
I
that would be the best for
Brandon, she
everyone
does not
involved.
have that type of self-reflective bone in that
Yeah,
body.
that's a good point. But I
There's
just
no
don't know that
world.
she's gonna, like, allow herself to connect with anyone else. I mean, she's
She'll
already burned that
try.
bridge with these men.
Oh, she's gonna freak out, and whoever the new man is that comes in, if she's still on at that point, she's gonna latch
He's the
on.
love of my life.
Yeah, and try to make him jealous,
Yeah.
and it's just gonna be a mess. But I think everybody's pretty exhausted by the mess already, and I just genuinely feel for the people having to live with her. Like,
Oh,
she's just
it's over.
talking.
It's over.
Well,
It's
she does
gonna be
that thing where
terrible.
she just yells and says the same thing over and over, and she's not even looking anywhere. Like, she's gone behind the eyes and is just screaming. And everybody's like, okay. And you can see them all like taking her to the side one by one, like people taking one for the team.
You know, it's like you're not seeing, like, even Hannah, when she took her to the side, I feel like a lot of her energy there was just like, "You've really gotta calm down, like, you're looking really bad right now,"
Yeah.
and, like, trying to help her out, so we'll see what
Yeah.
happens there.
All right. Well, that's all we've got for you today. We'll be back next week with Pop Snitch. Please follow us on all the things. We're Pop Snitch Pod on Instagram and TikTok. And I'm out here working my ass off to try to learn how to do these videos.
That's right, that's
I
right.
need engagement. Okay. So for the 5 people listening to this, engage.
And there's also the fastest way to get to all of our links for all the different podcasting systems and all of that is to go to popsnitch.com.
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right. Well, thank you for being on, Brandon. I appreciate you.
All right, until next time.
Bye-bye.